Massive leaks have just dropped for Destiny 2's Edge of Fate just before the reveal, including the release date and the new location. And if you're worried about spoilers, don't worry, there's no story spoilers in today's video. Let's jump into these spicy leaks. We have an article from Paul Tassi here, leak reveals Destiny 2, the release date and new location. All right, these come to us from Bungie leaks. They were able to, data mine this off of their website. Destiny 2 has a big reveal on Tuesday, May 6th, but ahead of that, store leaks just cannot stop happening despite Bungie's best efforts. Now, I've said this for a while now that I feel like sometimes these leaks happen as like a marketing tactic from Bungie. I'm not sure because I know that Bungie genuinely hates leaks so much, especially when they've been so mysterious for so long about Edge of Fate. But, when these leaks happen, people get really interested. This does get a lot of buzz going. It gets people prepared for, the big reveal. But let me know what you think. Do you think that Bungie has ever intentionally leaked stuff as a marketing strategy? Once again, the $275 collector's edition. Goddamn, that's a lot of money, but this is expected for the collector's edition, right? This is like the premium bougie edition of, the Destiny 2 expansions. It briefly appeared on the Bungie store again. Game Post talked about it, all right? But now with full information about what it contains, including some additional reveals like the Edge of Fate release date and the second expansion contained within the bundle. So we now know the name of the second expansion, all right? Previously, it was called Apollo and Behemoth, and we now know that Apollo is the Edge of Fate, but until now, we have not known what the name of Behemoth is, right? And this is Bungie's new style of releasing content in an entire calendar year. It's like two smaller releases, slightly smaller releases, instead of like one massive release annually, right? Now let's get on to the next part, because it does get controversial here in a minute. It turns out that no delays are ahead, and the Edge of Fate really is launching when the current Episode 3 Battle Pass ends July 15th. So if you don't know right now, you could look in the Battle Pass inside Destiny 2. It tells you the exact last date. It was July 15th. Everyone thought that maybe that was like a placeholder and that maybe there could be some delays and stuff like that. We have seen that happen before, of course. The Battle Pass ending is not an exact precise thing necessarily, but it is for Bungie right now. They've got this calculated, and it is in fact dropping July 15th. So mark the date. That is the launch of the Edge of Fate. Now, along with that, people are very interested, when will the raid drop? Because if you don't know, there's a community event called GCX that happens on July 25th this year, which would be the same date as the raid. We'll get into that in just a moment. According to the delivery dates for the CE, all right, at this very point, I very much doubt that's a placeholder with the reveal this week. It's also somewhat aligns with the 1.5 years between Destiny expansions, considering the final shape was out in June of 2024, right? So it lines up, we're July 2024, June 2024 and July 2025, right? Closer to 1 year. In fact, it is miles away from Marathon on September 23rd, which is also a very good point where, Bungie wants to keep a healthy boundary between when the Destiny 2 content launches and when Marathon launches. They're not trying to, steal from their own audience. Obviously, a good amount of Destiny players are going to go over and try out Marathon on launch in September 23rd. So, of course, we don't want to be launching brand new, spicy Destiny 2 content on the same date or even near that sort of time window, right? And also, a good news for Marathon, we talked about this previously, they actually moved the date of Borderlands 4, so Marathon can take a big breath from that. And then a second positive for Marathon, which sounds hilarious that the only positives are that other games are getting delayed, is that GTA got delayed until May of 2026. So GTA doesn't come out until next year. So it was originally meant to come out around the time when Marathon is. So this might actually give Marathon a chance to maybe grow an audience, which is what it's trying to do. It's trying to build a whole new audience, a very casual audience within the extraction shooter genre. But we're not going to talk about Marathon anymore. We've beat that dead horse to a pulp at this point. But that will no doubt be closer to the second expansion, Behemoth's release date. All right. And that's the another point of news. Behemoth is reportedly officially called Renegade. All right. So that's what it's called. So we got the Edge of Fate, and then the next expansion 6 months later would be Renegade. According to the Collector's Edition info, while the codename Apollo played into the Year of Prophecy title in the First Frontiers year, I'm having a bit of trouble connecting Renegade to anything at present. That is actually true. I don't really know what I could even connect that to other than Renegade Raider skin coming to Destiny 2 from Fortnite to Destiny 2. I'm kidding. That would be, I want to unhear that and we'll say it. We'll pretend I never said that. Okay. The collector's edition isn't anything all that unusual. A Guardian statue, some lore papers. This is what it is, right? A badge, an emblem, and a digital soundtrack. The price, however, $275, indicates that the normal bundle is likely still going to be $100, which is controversial, to say the least. Given that the collector's edition price matches the Final Shape collector's edition price, right? But remember, Final Shape was a once annual drop for $100. Now we're getting 2 of these a year. So Bungie has come up with a monetization scheme, the likes of which no one could have ever seen. Instead of giving us one big yearly expansion for $100, they're like, let's make it smaller and charge it the same price and give it twice a year now. People are going to be mad, all right? People are going to be mad. This is despite having less content overall with 2 smaller expansions and no actual seasons. You're paying for those 2 expansions and what looks like 4 battle passes. I know some players were hoping a year of content would get cheaper, but considering we're entering the era of $80 normal games, good luck. So if you don't know what they're talking about, I believe Microsoft has increased the base price of games from $60 to $80. Some people were saying it's because of tariffs. Whether it's because of tariffs or not, games have been $60 for so long now that it was naturally going to increase at some point in time. So games are now going to be $80. I believe this is Microsoft news. So now we can expect, overall, even Destiny expansions are going to be more expensive, right? It's still at that $100 price point, but remember, it's going to be twice a year now. The collector's edition also confirms that the new location of the Edge of Fate expansion will be Kepler, which we already saw in that last trailer. It said Kepler in big words in the top right, so it's nothing too revolutionary here, which was already teased in past releases if you were paying attention. Kepler is said to be a planetoid on the edge of Sol, and it appears it will be a desert focus zone. I like this. All right, I like this a lot. Desert focus zone, let's go. I feel do we even have any very desert-esque places? Have I ever seen a dune inside Destiny? I don't think I have. This is going to be cool. This is going to be fun. I like this. We need a dune. We need some of the fashion Destiny content creators to create some dune cosplayers or whatever, and dune outfits for us, for our characters, our Titan hunters and warlocks, right? I'm somewhat confused about the Kepler idea, as in real life, Kepler planets are named after the Kepler telescope that finds them, attempting to find Earth-like elsewhere in the Milky Way. It's named after the 16th century astronomer Johannes Kepler. Wow, I feel like I just learned some fucking history today. All right, now I know some stuff. But if this is at the edge of Sol, it would appear to be something different, as these other Kepler planets are light years away. So interesting. So I think that, there's gonna be some device, that we can travel faster through space, right? This is a common theme in sci-fi in general, where we travel at the speed of light, or we enter a black hole or something. All right, my theory that's literally cooked and no one believes me, and I don't care. I still think it was a cool idea, even if it doesn't come true. My theory is the Witness cut this giant triangle out of the Traveler. All right, the big purple pink triangle in his back. It's got a tramp stamp on him, right? That grows around the Traveler and eats the Traveler, literally like a cancer. It eats the Traveler and turns into a black hole. And then we go into the black hole and then boom, pop out on the other side of Milky Way, Kepler planet, whatever. I don't know. It's not going to be that way. All right. But that would be crazy, right? The Traveler dies and we literally go into the black hole of the Traveler. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I have some crazy ideas. My ideas might not actually work. I haven't thought it through any more than that. All right, we will learn more about this on Tuesday, and despite this info, it's not like we've seen any real gameplay or dived deep into the concept, so we'll report back after that. So very interesting, obviously. Good stuff overall. I'm interested in seeing what happens with the Edge of Fate. Like we talked about earlier, though, the GCX is a community-driven event where Destiny 2 players go outside for maybe it's the first time in their entire life, and they go and hang out socially. I know, it sounds insane, right? we actually go and we meet together regularly during summers at the GCX event. It's a once annual event where we touch grass as Destiny players. And it was lined up where the raid from the Edge of Fate was going to land on the exact same weekend as GCX, literally ruining it, meaning that, like, you know, the biggest content creators in the world that show up to GCX are probably not going to show up now. Like, obviously, Dado, he's trying to get a world's first. Do you think he's going to show up to GCX, or do you think he's going to try and get a world's first again, right? Like, he's probably doing the raid, right? He's done all the raids since the beginning. He would probably do the raid. Most of the content creators would be doing the raid. Bungie confirmed that the two will not overlap. So what does this mean, right? The raids either come out 3 days after the expansion or 10 days. We thought 10 days. But I think since Bungie has confirmed that they will not overlap, that it's going to be a 3-day launch. So that means that on Tuesday, we're going to get the announcement that right here on May 6th, we're going to get the announcement that the Edge of Fate launches July 15th, just as the event calendar says, the seasonal calendar says. And then 3 days later, the new raid will launch. Yes. 3 days later, we're going to jump into the new raid. I think that's a better strategy overall from Bungie, because as it stands right now, the community has like mastermind, and we have just found the meta of things so fast and so quickly that when Bungie changes the sandbox, as they're going to do with this, we are so quick to quickly find out what the meta is, find out what the good weapons are, and we also have our good guy Cheese Forever over here literally finding like 10 glitches a day on how to fast farm XP and materials and like do, you know, broken DPS on everything, right? So let's not give Cheese Forever 10 days to find some game breaking glitches so we can fly through the raid in less than 3 hours. Let's drop the raid 3 days after the expansion, so that way before all the glitches have been found, before the meta has been discovered in the Edge of Fate, you're already in the raid. All right, this will make the contest mode significantly more challenging. I like this strategy. I like this a lot more. I think this is a better play from Bungie. Honestly, if the raid just dropped on day one, that might even be a smart play, because don't let people figure out the glitches and bugs, because you know there's going to be something insane out there. There's going to be something that's just game breaking, all right? And Cheese Forever is going to have a video on it, and Bungie will have to disable it for the raid. And they do disable a good amount of things for these raid launches. Sometimes they miss stuff, though. Sometimes they miss some stuff, though. And that kind of ruins the integrity of these raid launches. We want it to be challenging. We want people, if they're going to earn this emblem, they had to really earn it. They had to like actually try. They had to have good builds. They had to have good teamwork, good chemistry. They had to be dedicated. They have to learn the mechanics. They have to understand how to play Destiny 2 at a high level, right? If you can just load into the raid in contest mode, and you and 5 blueberries that you found on LFG can fly through it in a couple hours, that ain't challenging, all right? So let me know what you think down in the comment section below about the leaks, about the reveals, about the date. If you enjoyed this leaks video, please be sure to drop a sub with notifications on. If I catch you out there not being subscribed to the channel, I will leak your web browser history. Don't make me do it.